all the day's sports news. Here's Ayotunde Balogun.
Yes, we start with football. Former Nigerian international Fatai Amo has been named as the new head coach of the Nigerian National League Campaigners Stationery Stores. Amo resumes immediately and is expected to take charge of the club's league match against UNICEF Rovers at the Onikon Stadium tomorrow, Sunday. Taiwo Enegwe will assist Amo alongside the former defender of the club, Collins Ibitimi. The stationery stores have also made massive changes to their playing personnel by recruiting some 25 new players before the transfer window closes. Manchester City comfortably avoided another slip-up as they beat Southampton 4-1 at the Etihad Stadium to keep their title hopes alive. City will travel to Anfield for a crunch clash next week, and Manuel Pellegrini, the head coach, knew that his men could afford no mistakes in the early kickoff of Saturday, that's today, having dropped 2 points at Arsenal last time out. Yaya Toure and Ricky Lambert traded penalties in the first half before the Saints and England player suffered a significant blow with Jay Rodriguez stricken off owing to an injury. But goals from Sami Nasri and Edin Dzeko in the first half stoppage time, then a late effort from Stevan Jovetic made it 14 wins from 15 league games for the 2012-2013 champions this season.
Nasri didn't. City back in front in first half stoppage time. Colorado. Great ball for Dzeko. What a delivery, what a finish. And Manchester City are making sure in first half added time. Jesus Navas, early ball in. And a tapping. Oh, he's come off the bench to make sure. It's number 4.
Meanwhile, Chelsea returned to the top of the EPL table after strikes from Mohamed Salah, Frank Lampard and Willian ensured the Blues ran out a 3-0 winner over Stoke City. Juan Mata scored a brace as Manchester United beat Newcastle United 4-0 away at St James's Park. Morgan Amalfitano's first half strike earned West Brom their third Premier League away win of the season. Hull City moved a step closer to securing their Premier League status as they beat Swansea City 1-0 away as well, while Hugo Rodriguez's late header kept alive Fulham's slim hopes of avoiding Premier League relegation as they beat Aston Villa by 2-1. James Harden tallied 39 points, including crucial late free throws, to help lead the Houston Rockets to a 111-107 points win over the Oklahoma City Thunder. Harden made 9 of 20 shots from the field to provide the winning margin and helped the Rockets break their 3-game losing streak despite Kevin Durant's best efforts. Durant hit 2 big 3-point shots late in the final quarter to keep Oklahoma City close and finished with 28 points to keep alive his streak of games with at least 25 points.
37. Thunder must go quick down 5. Durant 4-3. Knocks that down. 28 for Durant. 2-point game. Now you have to foul, and Jackson gives it at 14 seconds, but sends Harden timeout for Oklahoma City. Harden makes both. Thunder won't take the timeout yet. Must make situation here. It's Durant 4-3. No. Rebound, Harden. No foul.
And Kazakhstan moved within one victory of making the Davis Cup semifinals after Andrei Golubev and Mikhail Kukushkin beat Roger Federer and Stanislas Wawrinka 6-4, 7-6, 4-6, 7-6 in the doubles today, Saturday. Well, on Friday, Wawrinka lost 7-6, 6-2, 3-6, 7-5 to Golubev in the singles before Federer won 6-4, 6-4, 6-2 against Kukushkin to level the tie at 1-1. The Australian Open champion will have to beat Kukushkin in the first of the singles ties on Sunday to keep Switzerland's hopes alive. The second singles match of the day pits Federer against Golubev. Well, the winners of the quarterfinal will then play either Italy or Britain in the last 4.
Game, set match, Kazakhstan.
And that's it on sports news. The news at 10 continues shortly.
On the international scene, Afghans have gone to the polls in a historic election that will be the nation's first ever transfer of power through the ballot box. There was a massive turnout despite heavy rains and worries over security. The security was also heightened to deter the Taliban, who vowed to disrupt the election.
Afghans vote in a presidential election that marks the first democratic transfer of power since the fall of the Taliban in 2001. The incumbent Hamid Karzai was among the early voters, though he's barred by the constitution from standing again after 12 years in power. In Kabul, voting proceeded peacefully, though the Taliban has warned civilians that they would be targeted if they tried to vote. The Taliban launched a spate of attacks in the run-up to the vote, which they brand as a US-backed sham.
Despite problems, despite challenges, despite threats and intimidation, you decided in good numbers, according to the preliminary reports, to come and vote for your future. This is true Afghanistan and people of Afghanistan, showing the resolve and braving the bad weather and intimidation.
Also, voters in Kandahar, Afghanistan's second-largest city, and also the cradle of the Taliban insurgency, flocked to the polling stations to cast their ballots. Over 350,000 Afghan troops have been put on duty throughout the country to thwart attacks on polling stations and voters. And in Herat, women turned out en masse to vote in Saturday's presidential election. Herat has been a battleground for women's rights, and these voters weren't deterred by Taliban threats to disrupt the polls. Most people expect the election will be better run than the chaotic 2009 vote that handed Karzai a second term amid massive fraud and ballot stuffing. But it could take months, perhaps until October, for a winner to be declared at a time when the country desperately needs a leader to stem rising violence as foreign troops prepare to leave.
As Malaysia and its partners intensify the search for the missing Malaysian flight MH370 plane, reports say a Chinese ship searching in the southern Indian Ocean has picked up a pulse signal. They say the signal has a frequency of 37.5 kilohertz per second, the same as those emitted by the flight recorders. However, there is no evidence so far that it is linked to the MH370. Dozens of ships and planes have joined the search, with the operation moving into its most intensive phase before batteries on the data recorders fade. And finally tonight, a British man and a survivor of a motorcycle crash has had his face reconstructed using 3D printing technology. Stephen Power is believed to be the first in the world to have this pioneer surgery, all thanks to the Centre for Applied Reconstructive Technology, CARTIS, and scientists at the Cardiff Metropolitan University.
The bones in three pieces.
Stephen Parr was involved in a motorcycle accident after a night out with friends 2 years ago. He managed to survive, but sustained severe injuries. His left eye socket, jaw and cheekbone were worst hit. That left his face disfigured. Doctors had to go to work. For 8 hours, the surgical team had to refracture Parr's cheekbones using the CT scan to create and print a symmetrical 3D model of his skull, cutting the bones and moving them to positions. Making less of guesswork, the doctors were determined to restore the symmetry of his face.
What made this particular case a little bit special is that we use 3D virtual models and 3D printed models all the way through the process.
This is Par's face before and after the surgery. The result was remarkably similar to his before the unfortunate accident. Now, the former barman will no longer hide his face away from the glare of the public.
I didn't want to be seen because I know my face wasn't right, and obviously other people could see my face wasn't right, so I wouldn't go out as much, or I'd only go out if I had to, whereas now I can go out when I want to, basically.
And like any other procedure, it had its own challenges.
The left side of my face, they was unable to put back together or put back together how they should because of the swelling around my eye. They didn't want to make any sort of efforts to replace my eye because the bone underneath my eye had crumbled, and for them to move that, they would have had to have moved my eye, which the eye team in the hospital didn't want them to attempt, just in case I was able to gain vision back in that eye.
Mr. Parr's surgery is currently being featured in an exhibition at the Science Museum in London, tagged 3D printing, the future. This is one cutting-edge victory. The next would be to get this process used widely and more often, not only in the medical field, but in other facets of life.
Amazing. Truly a cutting-edge technology. In fact, cutting-edge victory. It's simply amazing. Now Stephen has a new lease on life. And the main news again. The World Congress of the All Progressives Congress witnessed large turnout of party members across the country today, but poor logistics and violence marred conduct in some states. Former Deputy Governor of Osun State, Yola Omishere, has emerged PDP candidate in the state's governorship election holding in August. And millions of Afghans today turned out to vote in the country's presidential poll amid report of ballot paper shortages and sporadic violence. But that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I'm Harriet Agbinyi. Have a good night.